guys, so this video is going to be all about things you do and don't need to bring to college. If you guys don't already know, I actually graduated this past May, and so over the years I've learned a lot about things that I need to bring and things I don't need to bring, and so I thought since it's back to school season, I would make this video. So as a little background, I dormed all 4 years of college. And my first 2 years I was with roommates, and then my last 2 years I was by myself, so I had a single room. And I did go to school in New York City, and so my dorm was basically an apartment. Yeah, so that's just a little background on me, so that I guess kind of helped in picking these certain things. And it may be a little different for you. I know, of course, I went to a city college, so that's going to be different from like a typical college that you would normally think of. In my opinion, a dorm is a dorm, and whether it's a New York City apartment or one at a typical college, I think these kind of things, these tips will work for you. So let's get started with the things that I have learned that are very helpful when living in a dorm. Number one, kind of a weird one, but flip-flops with holes in the bottom. Well, obviously you're gonna need flip-flops to wear to the shower because they are disgusting, and luckily I never had a communal shower. I just had one like in my room. And even though I had that and like I could clean it and everything, I still wore flip-flops because it's still disgusting. No matter how much you clean it, it's still disgusting. I found these flip-flops my last year, actually, this past year, and they have holes in the bottom, and so it makes it easier to dry. Before like I found these, I was using just regular old flip-flops, and they would be completely soaked and they would take forever to dry and they would wet the floor. These flip-flops with the holes, just they dry quicker, they don't kind of leave a lot of water everywhere, and they're just better than regular flip-flops. 2, command hooks. It's probably an obvious one, but if not, if you don't know what command hooks are, they are just hooks that you put on the wall and they don't damage anything. They don't like rip off paint or anything like that. I use them in my house. We use them to hang up decorations for the holidays and just kind of everyday things too. I use these all 4 years and they work perfectly. They are great to hang things up. So like I had a duffel bag and a tote bag that I used for like going home, back and forth to home and stuff, and I would just hang them up because they would take up less room hanging on the wall than in a closet, under a bed, in a storage box, something like that. And yeah, they're just great, and it's also great to just hang up a lot of things because like I said, it saves space on the ground and in your closet and under your bed. 3, laundry pods. I don't know exactly what they're called, but they're like little pods, and it's just great because you don't have to bring detergent and softener. You just stick this little pod in the washing machine with all your clothes, and that's it. A ton of companies make them. I think the most popular one is Tide. I use some other brands that my mom found at like Walmart or something. Any one of them is good. You can find them in a million different brands, and so I highly suggest them. 4, storage boxes. I brought a ton of storage boxes. I think they're great because you can put your things in to move it into school, but then once you get to school, you can just stick it under your bed or wherever there's space in your room, and you just leave it there. So I had one for extra towels and sheets and those kinds of things, and then I had one for cleaning supplies, and I had one for extra toiletries, and so I think they are great. You can find them pretty much at Walmart, Target, the Container Store, those kinds of boxes, and you can find them in all shapes and sizes, and they work really great. And number 5, the last thing you definitely need to bring to school are things that remind you of home. Any kinds of pictures, if you have like a favorite stuffed animal or blanket or something that reminds you of home. I brought a lot of pictures with me, and obviously you're gonna need things that remind you of home because you're gonna get homesick. I'm not gonna lie, you are gonna get homesick. Even if you live very close to home like I did, I still got homesick. And I think it's just great to have that little reminder and pictures of friends and family, or that one thing that comforts you that you can go to when you're not feeling so great or you really want to go home. That is definitely a must. Now the things you do not need, and I kind of learned this the hard way. I am just a person who likes stuff, and I have a lot of stuff in general, and that did not help going into a very, very small dorm room. I kind of learned the hard way, and my last year was definitely the year that I kind of like really learned my lesson, and I brought literally nothing to school except what I really needed, and even that is quite a lot of stuff, and so you can just imagine how jam-packed a dorm room can get. The first thing that I suggest is do not bring all of your clothes. You are not gonna need every single clothing item that is in your closet at home. I am lucky enough where I went to school very close to home, and so I came home pretty much every weekend, and I was able to only bring kind of what I needed, what was good for the weather. When I first moved in, I didn't bring any winter things, any fall things. You know, maybe I brought like one pair of jeans, one long sleeve shirt, you know, one or two sweatshirts, because obviously like the weather is unpredictable. You know, I didn't bring all of my, you know, fall and winter clothes. I brought mostly summer things because in New York City in September it is very hot and it doesn't get cold until about the end of October, and so I knew I wasn't gonna need all of my jeans, all of my, you know, winter tops, and you know, same in the winter I would bring home all of my shorts, all of my t-shirts, because I knew I wasn't gonna need them because it's freezing in New York in the winter. And so just things like that, kind of look at what the climate is where you're going to school, and are you really gonna need that big bulky jacket when you first move in. So just keep those things in mind. Also, another thing is, if you know, maybe you can't go home on weekends to kind of switch out your closet, maybe think about, you know, mailing some clothes back and having your parents mail clothes to you. It definitely saves a lot of room in your closet because those closets are very small, and I know for me, I had a tiny closet about this big, and I had like about 6 drawers, and even that was kind of a tight squeeze, and so I highly suggest bringing kind of the least amount of clothes that you can bring. Number 2, do not bring a ton of school supplies. You're not gonna need it. Although I did go to an art school and I needed, you know, more art supplies than school supplies, I was still fine with like a binder with a bunch of paper. And you know, I did take an English class. I did have to take like other classes that, you know, weren't as art based, and so I was fine with a binder with a bunch of paper. Maybe you're okay with like a notebook and a folder for each class you have. Honestly, you're not gonna need all the school supplies you needed for high school, middle school, elementary school. You're not gonna need it. And personally, I would go to class like the first day, maybe bring a notebook so you have something to write down, and then go buy all your school supplies, because chances are you're gonna bring more than you think you need, and then you're gonna regret it because you have all these school supplies that you're not gonna use, and they're gonna be taking up space where you can put other more important things in your room. 3, don't bring a lot of extra things like sheets, towels, cleaning supplies. Do not bring a ton of them because, again, you're not gonna need them. I think one kind of extra thing of sheets, one extra towel, you know, one extra of everything is more than enough. Something happens and you run out, you can run to the store and just buy a new one. It's just gonna take up too much space because, again, like I keep saying, you have absolutely no space in school. You know, you're gonna want all the space that you can get because it's super tiny. And so bringing a lot of extra things is pointless because you're not even going to use them. Like, I barely used my like second pair of sheets because I would just take the ones off my bed, wash it, and then put them back on. Same with my towels and, you know, my cleaning supplies. Like, I didn't clean very often, and also it's a very small space, and so you're not gonna have to use like a ton of cleaning supplies. Toiletries is kind of different because those, you know, you're gonna run out of quicker, like shampoo, conditioner, body wash. But again, I think 1 or 2 backups is perfectly fine because you can always buy more, and I'd rather have to like go out and buy another one than bring like 10 extra and not use half of them. 4, do not bring a lot of kitchen things. And kind of going back to what I said before, you're probably not going to need them. I only had a kitchen in my dorm room apartment my freshman year, and then sophomore year on there was a communal kitchen that I never used because it was kind of disgusting. So I didn't bring a lot of kitchen supplies. I had like 1 pan, 1 spoon, 1 fork, 1 knife, 1 plate, 1 cup. I saw people, you know, bring kind of like a whole kitchen, and you're not gonna have room. You're gonna have roommates that are gonna be bringing the same things too, so you're gonna have like doubles, triples, however many people are in that apartment. You're gonna have double of everything. If you need something, you can always borrow from them, or You know, if yours is dirty, borrow from them or vice versa. Honestly, you're not gonna need it. 5, do not bring a printer. I did that my freshman year and honestly it barely got used. It was just taking up space, and so I don't think you should bring a printer. Luckily, my school and my department, we had printing for free. If I needed to print something for a class, I can just go to, you know, my floor and print it on one of our printers, and so that was really great. And so I realized, you know, I don't need a printer. I'm just wasting my ink, my paper, when I can just do it at school for free. So those are all of my suggestions on things that I found were helpful and not helpful to bring to school with me. Obviously, everyone's different and there are more things, you know, that I could have said that maybe I didn't think of. And of course, it's different with every school, every dorm. And so these are just things that I thought generally would kind of help, you know, if you're living in a small space at school. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching.